Yeah, Terry, we're hopeful to talk to Mick, but unfortunately he's not available. We were told he was on his way down here to talk with us live for our Facebook Live, but we're told now he is not available. And of course, you know, we're wondering if that has anything to do with these early returns that are coming in right now. Kevin Stitt with a lead over Mick Cornett, 54% to 46% with 29% of precincts reporting. I will tell you, the mood doesn't really seem to be too off with those numbers, but it is much different than the primary in June, where already we were hearing applause and cheers. Most people are still very much hopeful and talking with one another. There is a row, though, behind the camera of some concerned faces that are watching the numbers a little more closely, it looks like, than others. But again, these are still very early numbers, and we'll keep watching them here live from Tower Theater. On the scene, on the story in Oklahoma City, Brian Dorman, News on 6.
One of the most heated races has been between Mike Hunter and Gettner Drummond for the Republican nomination for Attorney General.
Let's go ahead and take a look at those numbers now. This is shaping up to be a tight race. We have 38% of the precincts reporting, and it really doesn't get much tighter than this. Both candidates polling at 50% right now. We'll be keeping our eye on that one for sure.
Of course, we have much more to cover throughout the evening. We'll have it on the News on 6 app, on Facebook, as well as right here on News on 6.
This is an Oklahoma Votes election update.
Welcome back to News on 6's digital coverage of the 2018 runoff election. I'm Dave Davis, and I'm going to be here with you throughout most of the next hour, talking about the updated polling numbers. We're going to be talking with candidates. We've already talked live with several candidates here on Facebook Live and on our YouTube channel. So keep joining us, keep checking us out. We've got a lot going on, and we're at a lot of watch parties all throughout the state. News on 6 has spread out our reporters and anchors all across the state to get this complete coverage for you. So let's take a look at some of the numbers, what you're probably here for. Looking at the numbers, 41% of precincts reporting. So that precinct total is shooting up, and we now have the governor Republican race. This is the 55% to 45% margin between Kevin Stitt and Mick Cornett. Remember, Mick won it pretty handily in the primary with 29% of the vote. Kevin Stitt barely made it into the runoff at the last second, and Kevin Stitt holding a comfortable lead here in the runoff. Let's move to the lieutenant governor on the Republican side. This race between Dana Murphy and Matt Pinnell. We were talking with Matt Pinnell earlier, and I believe Matt Pinnell, at the last check, he was leading. And if we have any more numbers, we can put those up and we will talk about those. Okay, here we go. Attorney General on the Republican side, Gentner Drummond and Mike Hunter in a dogfight. It is mano a mano right now. 43% of precincts reporting, and it is 50-50. Less than 1,000 votes separate them. This was also a close primary, if you remember. Incumbent Mike Hunter pulled it out, but he only won 44% to 38% in the primary. So this is a tight one. Moving on to the next race that we have on tap for you. Just running down some of them, we have the superintendent on the Republican side. That's Joy Hoffmeister versus Linda Murphy, the Commissioner of Labor, and this is the Superintendent of Public Education, Joy Hoffmeister. Now, here it is, what we were talking about, 43% of precincts reporting, and Joy is enjoying a comfortable lead, 56% to 44%. Let's go now live to News on 6's Amy Kaufman, who is at the Kevin Hern watch party here in Tulsa and has the candidate live now. Amy?
That's right, Dave. We're here with Kevin Hern, and how are you feeling so far tonight?
Well, feeling good. Very humble. My team has worked all night, so I'm very proud of them. Using a sports term, we've kind of left it all on the field today. As you came out earlier today, we're out waving signs. This afternoon, I was making phone calls up till about 20 minutes before polls closed. We probably end up making about 4,000, 5,000 calls today. So I don't know what else we could have done. We feel good. We've done everything we can, so we'll just wait and see where the results come in.
And I know that you said, you've never run before, but at the same time, what are you pushing in your campaign?
Well, what we're pushing is putting America back to work. This president has done a lot of great things with our economy, and in spite of all the other things going on, and that's all I know. I've put a lot of Americans to work, and I know personally for me, where I came from at a young age, that having a job, learning how to get a job and a better job and getting a career is what's really important to people. And we sort of lost our way on that in America. We need to get the government out of the way and let job creators go back to what they do well, which is create jobs.
And I know that you've been sharing your story with a lot of people. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like many of the people in the first district that I've met in this last 18 months, less than, I would say, great beginnings, and lived on food stamps early in my life and had an opportunity to go to VOTech, Career Tech, like we have here with Tulsa Tech and Tri-County, and then go on to college 2 years later and get an engineering degree. And then through just kind of luck with what happened in the aerospace industry, I got a chance to get in McDonald's franchising program in 1987. Didn't have any money, was broke. And so it took me 10 years working in all the positions in McDonald's, management, and everything else to save $100,000. And my wife and I bought our first restaurant in 1997, January. And since that time, we've signed both sides of the paycheck and literally hired thousands and thousands of people over the last 21 years, 22 years now. And it's a very humbling thing when people trust in you to be the one to give them a paycheck to pay their rent and their car payments and just provide for their families. So it's a very humbling process.
And you seem to have a lot of support out here tonight.
We've had so many great volunteers. It's probably the most humbling part of running is so many people come across the district, and whether it be in Washington County and Widener County, it's a small town. I grew up in small towns, so I really have a special affinity for places like OK and Copan and Dewey and Ramona. The list goes on. And those are turning out very well for us right now. But we still have to do what we need to do in Tulsa, and we've done a great job of that in the last 6 weeks as well.
And I mean, what's next after tonight?
Well, we need to win first, and then that'll be different. But just me personally, I'll go to work tomorrow just like I've always done. I still have a lot of businesses that I run every day, and that's different for me than my opponent who doesn't have any businesses. I'm running as well as running my businesses, so I can't remove that responsibility either. But tomorrow when we wake up, we'll see who the Democrat opponent is if we're fortunate enough to win, and then we'll move from there.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking with us, and we'll continue to watch this throughout the night. We'll send it back to you, Dave.
All right, Amy, thank you so much. And you can see the numbers there at the bottom of the screen. A lot of precincts are reporting now, and Kevin Hern is up on Tim Harris, 54% to 46%. So enjoying quite a comfortable lead, still about almost halfway through. But again, remember, Tim Harris won the primary pretty handily. So Kevin Hern making a big comeback here in the runoff. Let's go to Megan Farley. News on 6's Megan Farley, who's here in Tulsa again at Gentner Drummond's party. And it sounds really loud and exciting there, Megan.
It is loud and exciting here because, after all, we did just have a cut-in on News on 6 that shows this race between Hunter and Drummond is at 50-50 right now. So a very tight race here. Again, we're at 15th and Peoria at the Agora Event Center. But you know what? I'm going to go right ahead. We have Gentner Drummond here to talk to us, and it's a little loud in here, so apologies if I have to scream a bit. But I spoke to you when we last saw the numbers. Very close race. Tell me a little bit. You expected this, you said, or you knew it was going to be close.
Our polling numbers have indicated that this is going to come down to the last 10 or 15 precincts. It's very close. But it's an exciting thing. This is what democracy is all about. If it were a runaway, it would be boring. I mean, you guys wouldn't be running cameras. So it's fun. And regardless of whether we win or lose, we feel like we've been victorious in this effort to bring a new agenda to the front and make the people think.
Tell me a little bit about what you spent your day doing. Did you relax? Did you go out and, I think you were out bright and early putting some signs up, waving some signs. No resting, huh?
Early this morning, we've been out at the polls with our signs. Wendy and I have covered. Our children have been at different precincts. In the middle of the day, we were calling voters that were undecided. And then at the end of the day, we were out again with our signs. Time for just a quick shower, and here we are. And we're going to celebrate tonight regardless of the outcome.
Wonderful. And we spoke a little bit earlier, you know, the last month or so, you really spent out in the field, as we call it, and, you know, in reporting. And you heard a lot of stories and went to all the counties to really meet with as many people as you could. Tell me about that strategy.
It was a remarkable experience to go out and to touch so many people in about 72 counties. It was wonderful getting to talk to people about what's important to them. And my takeaway is this: Oklahoma is a remarkable state, populated by remarkable people, and they want change. And I'm offering that tonight.
Okay, well, we'll let you get back to your party. Thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you again soon, I'm sure, as the votes come in and the polls close. All right, Gentner, thank you very much. So there you have it. The numbers are very close, about 50-50 between Gentner Drummond and Mike Hunter here for Attorney General in this runoff race. So we are here. We've got quite the party behind us. Apologies if I am yelling, but, you know, we can't really hear too much. But things are getting exciting here, so definitely stay with News on 6. I'll be doing a live cut-in, I believe, on Channel 6 in a few minutes here, but stick with the Facebook Live, of course. So for now, Dave, I'll send it back to you.
Megan, thank you so much. Interviewing all kinds of candidates tonight. We've interviewed Tim Harris, we've interviewed Matt Pinnell, Kevin Hearn, so many others. So thank you, all the reporters, for hard work tonight, getting candidates live here on Facebook Live and for our YouTube viewers as well. So let's take a look at the races. Megan was mentioning how Gentner Drummond is very close with Mike Hunter, the governor for the Republican nomination for governor. Kevin Stitt still with a handy lead on Mitt Cornett, handily leading here, 56% of precincts reporting, and he has a 10 percentage point lead. And you can see that vote total there, about 14,000 votes up on Mitt Cornett. For the lieutenant governor Republican ticket, we have Matt Pinnell has this big time lead, 59% to 41%, and we're getting to where we're have almost 2/3 of the precincts reporting. So we have 56% of precincts reporting, and Matt Pinnell with a big lead on Oklahoma Corporation Commissioner Dana Murphy. Now on to the Attorney General. We just talked to him. Gentner Drummond has now distanced himself a little bit since about 5 seconds ago. Again, these results are coming in live right now. So we have Gentner Drummond on top of Mike Hunter, the incumbent, 51% to 49%, ever so slight. You can see the vote totals not much separate the two, not even 2,000 votes separate the two, and it was a close primary as well. State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister, a handy lead over Linda Murphy, who has run for the office before. Joy Hoffmeister up 56% to 44%, and of course she is the incumbent on that side. The Office of Labor Commissioner for the Republican ticket. There is no Democratic runoff here because Fred Durrell already won that. So we have Leslie Osborne on top of Kathy Costello, 53% to 47%. Former State Senator Leslie Osborne versus Kathy Costello, whose husband was at one time the head of the Labor Department. The U.S. House race, this is getting national attention, of course, across America. A lot of primaries happening, Florida, Arizona tonight. So the U.S. House race for District 1, which was Jim Bridenstine's seat, Kevin Hearn has a pretty big lead, 55% to 45%. So that's a 10 percentage point lead. But you look at the precincts, we only have about 1/3 of those reporting. So Kevin Hearn still only separated by less than 3,000 votes from Tim Harris. Moving on now to the county level. Tulsa County District Attorney on the Republican side, Jenny Pro-Day, is already in as the Democratic nominee. So for the Republican nominee, Steve Kunzweiler versus his former associate in the same district attorney's office, Ben Fu, and Steve Kunzweiler has opened up a 56% to 44% lead with not even 30% of precincts reporting. Of course, Oklahoma's newest recognized party, as far as the polls are concerned, as far as the state election board is concerned, the Libertarian Party. Some more votes have now come in, but still, Chris Powell, he almost won the primary outright, and he is leading Rex Lawhorn 62% to 38%, and that's about 60% of precincts reporting. So moving on now to the Democrats on the House District side, District 1. So this person, whoever wins this, will have the right to face off against either Tim Harris or Kevin Hern. So on the Democratic side, Tim Gilpin, who has done more traditional advertising, you've probably seen his signs around. He's up 59% to 41% on Amanda Douglas, who has done almost all grassroots advertising, very heavily presenced on Facebook there, but Tim Gilpin still up and about a third of precincts reporting there. Attorney Tim Gilpin versus energy analyst Amanda Douglas. Those are their professions. And then the House District number 2, Tahlequah Mayor Jason Nichols. This will be the right to face off against Markwayne Mullen in the general election. So Tahlequah Mayor Jason Nichols has 57% at this point, and Oklahoma educator and Army veteran Clay Padgett at 43%. And you can see down there the precincts in this very large district, about 3/4 of the precincts are reporting there. Of course, we have much more coverage for you on our News on 6 app because there are other races, including a bond issue in Broken Arrow, a package of 6 propositions in Broken Arrow that is the largest in that city's history and will pay for several things if it's passed, including a new police station and things like that. So moving on, Dustin, I'm sorry, could you go ahead and repeat what we're going to do next? Okay, yes. Let's take a look at Facebook. There we go. Thanks, Dustin, our producer, producing for this Facebook Live and YouTube digital desk. Amanda Douglas, again, I just mentioned 17 minutes ago she posted this, watching the votes come in. She has been almost exclusive on social media. Really no traditional advertising there for the energy analyst, I believe, from Broken Arrow. Jason Nichols' watch party in Muskogee. Again, we talked about how large this district is, and this is the district that Markwayne Mullen already won outright in a crowded primary field. He already won that outright, so he will go to the general election to face off against either Jason Nichols or Clay Padgett. So there's a post again by Tim Gilpin on Tim Gilpin for Congress page. He's having his watch party at the Tulsa Little Theater, 15th and Delaware here in Midtown Tulsa. Chris Powell been very active today on Facebook as well, just encouraging people to get out and vote. He posted a selfie as well, and kind of a comical post if you want to go back and look at that. So this is key in 2018, right? You've got to have that Facebook presence, and it seems like all the candidates do. They all do in the runoff, and Matt Pinnell there with that post as well. So we have more coming up for you on TV with Craig and Terry giving you an update on the races on television. And of course, we'll be back for you with another update here on News on 6's Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave Davis. We'll be back in a moment.